So we're going to put these in order now?
Yeah, I think we can put them in order.
I must say, in terms of the processes, I'm disappointed by the one example of ethyl acetate or sugar cane decaf, because we've had some very good ones at Coffee Review. This one is not very good. Because I kind of liked it this time as I go through the cups.
Yeah, and typically, I don't know whether it's just the temperature as coffee's cool, or if it's a settling process of types, but I find coffees tend to get better.
Right. Well, I'd have to put George's coffee first.
Yes.
Howell.
George is going to stay there, yeah.
Yeah, George Howell, Columbia methylene chloride solvent. Although it was muted, some of the characteristics and power of the coffee were muted by the decaffeination. It retained. It was muted but complete, I thought.
Yeah.
Number 2, I have a hard time choosing a number 2.
I don't. I'm going to say the CO2 one. This one would be number 2 for me.
So I think my number 2 is a big drop-off from number 1. So there's not much there, but it's sort of clean. The other possibility for the second choice would be ethyl acetate, the sugar cane decaf. The profile is distorted by the sugar, by the sweetness.
Mm-hmm.
But it's sort of pleasant. Sort of watery in the finish, but has some character. Beyond that, Kevin, I'm not interested in ranking.
Oh, okay.
I guess number 3 is kind of pleasantly neutral. What was number 3?
It's the CO2.
Yeah. That's a good one. The dark roast is just so dark, but a dark roast drinker will find it satisfying, I think.
Yeah, I would think so.
So I'm just, maybe it's drinking decaf has kept me from reaching the highs of my of my evaluative faculties, but
we are damning with faint praise.
What about you?
George owns it. George does the one that is the most like a normal lighter roasted coffee that I would drink for taste and just enjoy it. And if I had a cup like this after dinner at night, I could sacrifice the slight differences that there's some muted stuff going on that even George can't overcome apparently, but it's damn good. And I think I actually think this is the noteworthy. We're 100% in agreement on that. Putting this one number 2, boy, I'm not sure. I think I would go number 2 with the CO2 one, but to me they're kind of swappable. I actually thought the Copper Moon was pretty good. I'd say these 3 would be tied for second place. I'd say 4 because I can't believe that I can enjoy dark roasted coffee, and maybe I don't expect as much, but I thought this was certainly drinkable. It didn't. It's partly because the roast in a dark roast coffee, to me, the roast trumps everything else. Sorry to use that word for some people. And then I'm very sorry because this person is someone I greatly admire on the level of George, but I don't blame him. I think he is. I know he's a devotee of Sumatra the same way, and I just thought I had to try it. And I absolutely love his caffeinated Sumatra picks. No matter what time of year it is, he seems to find a good one, not the decaf.
Okay. I think I'm with you actually in clustering those choices at number 2. If there's a learning here for me, it's a disappointing one, which is that we probably will see fewer and fewer methylene chloride decafs, and yet they probably, the process may be better for the coffee, easier on the character of the coffee, perhaps, than the water processes, which are winning the field. To be kind of blunt and controversial, that the health concern about the trace of solvent in a coffee, given that the solvent evaporates at 100 degrees and coffee is roasted to 400. And there's not much in there anyhow. The amount allowed by the EPA is tiny. Really, it's a kind of a publicity push by the water process. But I mean, they're worthy people doing a worthy job, trying hard to produce a good coffee. And again, George Howell, the roaster, may have chosen a particularly fine so I'm not sure it's characteristic of all methylene chloride or European processes, but I'm a little disappointed, frankly, by the array. On the other hand, I didn't taste any that had a really odd, repulsive decaf taste. Right. They're all reasonable.
Yeah, it's what they seem to remove, or what is removed in the process, that is hard to put back. To put the genie back in the bottle is the phrase. It seems difficult, and yes, the methylene chloride seems to be pretty darn close to a regular coffee.
I think that the CO2 sample, not very exciting, even more subdued than the methylene chloride sample, the Howell coffee sample. But I thought it had promise. I thought, in a way, it was a cleaner kind of decaf process than the others. I'm looking forward to trying to dig some more of those out. The CO2 process. CO2 process is compressed, and so it becomes a liquid, and it selectively unites with the caffeine and then is evaporated out of the beans. So it's a form of a solvent process, but the solvent, of course, is quite benign.
It's very clever. Whether it is as clever as methylene chloride, which admittedly has a name that scares a modern consumer. Admittedly, it sounds like a chemistry experiment, and I get it. The people don't want that. It seems to be a worry about nothing, but...
Well, we better knock off, because I need to take a nap.
You know, I do too. This has been really a wonderful tasting, Ken. we need to find some caffeinated coffees before we rise again.
Okay, Kevin.
Okay, thanks, Ken. I think we've made our point. Please like and subscribe if you want to see more shows like this.